Marvel Legend prices are on the rise, and they're not done yet. Let's talk about it. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota, and today we are talking about the unfortunate rise in action figure prices. Now, Marvel Legends, not that long ago, were $25.99, and not too long before that, they were $20.99, and not too long before that, they were $9.99, give or take 20 years. So I was just scrolling Facebook today, and one of the members in a Marvel Legend group that I was in had posted that the threshold has been hit. The new price is too much for them. They have a few figures on pre-order. They were figures that they really wanted, but after getting that final bill of, after, I think it was after taxes and everything and shipping, that price went up to $37 for a standard Marvel Legend figure. And they said, that's too much. They're done. Now, there are always ways that you can try to get your Marvel Legends a little bit cheaper as they come out. You can go to gonewmeta.com, use code STRONG101, get 10% off every order, save your money there, $5 flat rate shipping, free shipping if it's over $100. But this isn't necessarily an entire plug for Go New Meta. This is talking about the overall prices going up. And the sad reality about that is as soon as the prices go up, they don't come back down. They go up and they stay there, and that's it. They only go up from where they currently are. So that is the sad reality that we live with. And I know some people want to keep politics out of their hobbies and everything. Another sad reality is politics are encroaching on every part of your life, and that includes hobbies. And we're not going to talk about necessarily politics in specific, because I think the companies are using politics as almost a scapegoat at this point. I think initially, yes, there was the tariffs and all the things, especially here in the US, that pushed the hobby into a more expensive. It wasn't too terrible of a shift, but it did shift, especially if you were getting imports. That's a whole mess too. But we're talking mostly Marvel Legends American figures for America. Quick break from the prices. Look at this graph. Some people watch the show. They're not subscribed. Don't be one of them. Hit the subscribe button. And if you've been subscribed and you like what you're watching, you can also hit the join button and join the membership. Also, I have a TikTok, and I'm racing my wife to see who can get 1,000 subscribers first. So we're neck and neck right around 500-ish. So if you could help me out, beat her to 1,000, that'd be nice. We got some good content there too. But I think now the companies are able to almost use the turmoil that we are in politically and supply chain wise and all of that as almost, we're just, adding on another $2 because tariffs. And I don't know that that's necessarily true in all cases, because, if we look at the most recent wave of Marvel Legends, those are now $27.99. And that's for your standard figure. And if we take a look at one of those standard figures, Werewolf by Night, you get no accessories. You get the Build-A-Figure piece, yes, but there's no alternate head, no alternate hands. And I've kind of made videos saying, would you really even display him any other way? That's probably how you're going to display him, and any other accessories would have just ended up in a drawer somewhere, forgotten and never used. But the scene value, you're getting a figure that comes mostly in an empty box. Yes, there's a Build-A-Figure piece, but no accessories for the figure you're buying. And on top of that, you've got old technology. So you've got pins in the arms, which I'm not really a pin snob. For my Spider-Mans, yes, I would like them to be pinless because I don't want a blue spot where it should be red or vice versa. Werewolf by Night, it's a full brown torso, so the pins blend in much better than, wrong colors being in wrong places. But the principle of using, it's almost a 10-year-old mold at this point, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, because it was the Jackal torso and upper body mostly, I think. So that came out 10-ish years ago now. So now you're paying 2025 prices for a 2015 figure or, technology for, at least half of him. Maybe a little less than half because, head's different, legs, whatever. But you get what I mean. Old tech, new price. I think that definitely hurts the value of some of these. And, even within this wave, you've got some brand new things like the World War II Wolverine, a lot of new parts there. The 6-arm symbiote Spider-Man, there's some new stuff there, new Enchantress. I'm not saying that we're not getting great figures, because I do also think that this is the best time for getting the best Marvel Legends. I think Marvel Legends has absolutely been crushing it. The figures are fantastic, but is the amount of fantastic that I'm getting in the figure worth the increase in price? And like I said, it's been snowballing fairly rapidly. I think, people want to look back at Toy Biz, and I'm sure people have already left the comments of, well, yeah, but when we started, I remember collecting Marvel Legends from Toy Biz, and they were $9.99, and they came with a comic book, and they came with more paint and better, newer sculpting and a base and giant Build-A-Figures like Galactus and the Sentinel. And I don't think it necessarily matters how many times it's explained how Toy Biz is different than Hasbro. Now, I might get some of this wrong, but I don't think Toy Biz had to pay any licenses at all, because, again, this is a little blurry to me, but Toy Biz almost like owned Marvel. Like, they were essentially the same thing. It's similar right now to how Hasbro owns G.I. Joe. So when you look at a G.I. Joe figure, it's coming loaded out with all the weapons, heads, like almost like completely different suits. When you look at a Hasbro Marvel Legend box and you look at a Hasbro G.I. Joe box, the G.I. Joes have a lot more value in the box because they have that property. They don't have to pay the license fees that you have to pay for Marvel. So now that Hasbro has the Marvel license, they have to pay for that. Back in the day, Toy Biz didn't have to do that, so there was a lot more wiggle room to put the budget to the like comics, the clamshell, the bigger Build-A-Figures, all that stuff. We're in a different time than that, and that's not necessarily where my grief comes in. My grief comes in with, the new prices that keep going up. And I will say, like, the good-ish news is it seems like, aside from the standard Marvel Legend prices, and I can't go through everything because it seems like as you go past the standard, everything is just a gray area at this point. I know they have different SKUs for different things of like, Scar is going to cost so much and other figures like Scar. But then you've got the difference in even 2-packs, because the Medusa and Gorgon 2-pack is going to be more expensive than the Black Bolt and Triton 2-pack. But then I want to say the Punisher and Nick Fury 2-pack is more expensive than even the Medusa and Gorgon, or at least it's close, which to me, you're getting 2 standard figures with Punisher and Nick Fury. You're getting a deluxe figure with Gorgon. But why are those so similar? Why wouldn't the Punisher and Nick Fury 2-pack be the same price as Triton and Black Bolt? Yes, there's a lot of accessories, but it's a lot of reused accessories. So to me, I totally ordered that Punisher and Nick Fury 2-pack. But I was not happy about the new price, having to pay over $30 per figure. I supported it because I bought it, but I am not happy about it. And then you start looking at maximums, and then you've got the $50 Spider-Man, and then you've got Maximum Hulk. Everybody has had the discussion as long as possible, since they've been announced, of the prices and how worth it is. I think the value in Maximum Hulk is starting to drop, because I've seen now several times where the QC issues with the rubber chest have not really been working out. I've held that figure in hand. I would rather have my older Hulks, but I'm not necessarily upset for them for trying new things and then adding in the price there. I mean, I have a $400 HasLab Galactus, for Pete's sake. I'm not afraid of spending money on action figures, but you definitely have to take a step back, look at the collection that you have, and then decide if it's worth it to keep getting the figures at the volume that you have been getting them, because, the prices go up $2 per figure. You're getting several figures throughout the year. That's going to add up. And maybe that's not necessarily your threshold yet. Like the person said on Facebook today, they've hit their threshold, because once you add in taxes and shipping, then you're going to be, priced up to that $37 for them. And to me, I don't know exactly what my threshold is for Marvel Legends. I don't know that I necessarily have one to say, like, I'm completely done with this line, I will not collect it anymore. But even at this price now, I am being much more picky and choosy. Although I do think that that's easy for me to say with the collection that I currently have, because, I have most of the figures that I want that have come out. And with that, there's so much like depth to the line that I don't necessarily need the newest version of each character, like Maximum Spider-Man. I didn't feel $50 was worth it to me. I was happy with my pretty new Spider-Mans that I have with Renew Your Vows and Amazing Fantasy. Those will do just fine. I can pass on a $50 Spider-Man. But I guess if you're getting into collecting now, it's probably much more challenging for those type of collectors, people that have been in collecting for years and decades and all of that. I'm sure you're upset too, but we can take that step back and be like, you know what? Don't really need these figures. I can pass, save my money. But for those figure collectors that are newer and, they've just started their Avengers team and they're like, oh man, I really need the new Hulk. And they then had to spend that $64.99 to get that Hulk, which I've said several times, it's a green Hulk. They're going to make a new green Hulk. Other companies are going to make a green Hulk. If you don't love that one, you don't have to get it. Marvel Legends is going to make those A-list characters once a year at minimum. If it's Wolverine and Spider-Man, you're probably going to get at least 5. So patience is also key. And I think now more than ever, it's time to start exercising some of that patience, because when prices go up, it gets harder for collectors. And that's where I think it's helpful to have a community that can be looking out for things for you. So for exclusives, you don't have to pay those aftermarket prices for things. You can have somebody out in the wild looking for you. So I think with the prices going up, with getting more picky choosy, it's good to have options to try to save that money. Like I said, I'm always going to push Go New Meta because I'm the director of marketing community there. I would like that company to do well, because then if they do well, I do well. They've been a sponsor of the show for a long time, and now I'm working with them in a little bit more of a permanent capacity. But you can use those discount codes from us or your favorite other creator. Other people are putting those discount codes out there as well. Really trying to find those free shipping deals, or at least low cost. Like Big Bad Toy Store has $4 flat shipping. New Meta has $5 flat shipping. Even some of the like smaller, especially like I think of like with Mythic Legions, and some of those shops sell Marvel Legends too. But being a smaller shop, they don't have to pay taxes. So depending on where you're buying things, you could even save some money there. Like I said, the taxes brought the Marvel Legend up to $37.99. Probably wouldn't have been the case if, some other shop didn't have to pay taxes. And that depend, like once they get bigger, they'll have to pay taxes. But, for right now, maybe you'll be able to save those few bucks, and you'll be able to help out a smaller company too. Even, buying local, shopping small, that's a whole nother talk. But for now, let me know what your thoughts are. There's a big rambling of prices and Marvel Legends and the current state of how much we have to pay for our toys. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing. And until next time, stay strong.